Welcome back on the trading recap video. Today we're gonna go over the trade I took on Microsoft where I made more than $4,000 overnight. And if I made money, that also means my whole team made money as well. Right? So let's get into this trade recap where I'm gonna go over my game plan, my thought process, and why I took the trade. So quickly, let's look at Microsoft really quick on a bigger time frame. Microsoft pretty much had a huge uptrend that we're actually moving on, but let's focus on the most recent price action really quick. So in this chart on TradingView, I'm pretty much on a weekly time frame, and we can see at this level where Microsoft made new all-time high. After that, we started having a strong pullback to the downside, and after that strong pullback, right, we came back where we obviously have a strong demand at this level, and we start actually bouncing again. So from that demand zone, Microsoft trying to resume this uptrend, and you can clearly see that after that bounce on that demand zone, while trying to make a higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, we failed to make a new higher high at this level. And something you can actually see here, can clearly see my chart, we have a nice trend line at this level, and that trend line pretty much acted as a clear support where the price having a hard time to break below, right? We keep having that bounce. So by default, I was definitely watching this trend line really closely as we're coming back again from that high level to that low right here, and see, okay, as we're coming back to that trend line, I want to see the reaction of the buyer to see if there will be some type of buying pressure to actually to still defend that trend line and actually resume the path and actually go higher. Reminder, we are on a weekly time frame, so that means that trend line should be really significant for the price action in terms of technical analysis. Let's have a deeper view of Microsoft really quick. So I'm gonna go pretty much on a daily time frame and see how that trend line pretty much continue on the daily time frame. I think that's a nice support right here. So if you look at the daily time frame right here, you can see at one point of time, right, the sellers were able to actually, break below that trend line. But guess what? The buyer came in and usually push the price back up again. I already mentioned that I was watching this trend line at the key support level for the buyers, especially for Microsoft, to actually reclaim that level and try to push back up. That's exactly what we pretty much seen on Microsoft. And now we can see that the selling pressure came back here where the first bounce right here and try to actually break that trend line for good. But the seller fell because the buyers were, again, the same way that actually came here and on here to actually support the price and push higher. They didn't fail to actually came back again when the seller tried to break that trend line and were able to actually reclaim that trend line and push the price higher. But now let's go to the deep level about how I was able to find my entry and actually why I took that trade. So this trend line right here was pretty much the key main point why I was interested in that trade in the first place. And the whole game plan, it was to see if after selling pressure was coming back into that trend line, if buyers will be able to actually defend that level and actually push higher. And all I had to see some type of strength from the buyers altogether. I really liked how we definitely broke that trend line to the downside and actually reclaim it. So the break and reclaim show the strength from the buyers after losing a major level. So the fact of losing a level and reclaiming that same level, that shows a sign of strength from the buyers, and I really love that. And I wanted to actually find an entry to move with the buyer to the upside. So let's take a look at the 4 hour really quick. So I'm currently on the 4 hour. As you can see, right, so this right is the same level where we actually try to lose that trend line, and this is where we actually reclaim that trend line. You can see how aggressive the buyer were able to actually reclaim that trend line in the 4 hour with that big green candle at this level. And I really love that. But I didn't want you to actually enter. And if you look closely, by reclaiming that trend line with that strong buying pressure, we were also to actually break that trend line resistance that we have here. So we pretty much have a reclaim on that support trend line and also a breakout of that resistance trend line that we have here. So I'm talking in this video, assuming you guys know about trend line. If you don't, it's okay. But it's still the same concept of the buyers reclaiming a major level, right, showing the presence to actually defend a significant level and try to push higher. And that's simply what it is. But by doing so, I didn't just want to actually enter the trade because we just reclaimed that trend line. No, there was a specific level I was watching, and that level was the 424 level. So I definitely want to see the price break that level and stay above that level. But even though we actually broke that level right here, I wasn't ready to actually enter. That was a good sign. Okay, keep what Microsoft on watch. We can have a good entry. The reason why I didn't want to enter right away on that breakout is because we're having a big move to the upside, and I wanted to enter on the pullback. All right, as long as we stay above the 424. And if you actually go back in a 1 hour, even deeper, all right, you can see from the low here to here, that was a big move and with no pullback. So I wanted to enter on the pullback, and as you can see after that pullback right here, I was looking for an entry. So we definitely enter right on the last hour of market close. And when we actually enter, if you guys remember, we pretty much had a big dip. You can see, let me go even deeper on the price action and go to the 15-minute. We definitely enter on this candle right here, and we're still above the 424, and that was my key entry trigger to stay above 424 before my entry. So when we enter, we're still above it, and at that point I didn't believe that we were pretty much gonna lose the 426 because for the whole day we actually had. But guess what, before the market closed, we had a strong move. That was a scary move. All right, so we were down right after entering that contract, and that was really scary. But right, I think this move was pretty much a move to actually shake a lot of like weak hand. And that's exactly what happened. You can see after the storm pushed down, we actually reclaim it. And the next day, we can see Microsoft have a strong push to the upside. And we took profit at the open all the way here. And we made more than 300%, 400%, 500% on that trade. All right, that trade moved really aggressively. And after that, strong pullback, and we stay above the 428 for the rest of the day. So Microsoft was a beautiful move. That was a pure trend line bounce momentum play, and I really loved it. And I love catching those kind of play. I love to see a stock keeping a structure and having some momentum into it. So I saw that, and based on experience, I decided to actually capitalize on that. So those are the beautiful trades. Well, if you're interested to catch the next trade with us, there will be a link in the description below. Make sure to join our free community.